It started with the sound of bulldozers. I live in the old Braxton farmhouse just outside city limits in North Carolina. It's modest, historic, and it backs up to a plot of land that holds something sacred, the Braxton family cemetery. 11 generations of my family are buried there. My parents, grandparents, and my brother Caleb. One afternoon, I came home early from work to find construction crews clearing brush near the cemetery. A foreman in a yellow vest was marking trees with orange paint. I sprinted up the hill and shouted, "What do you think you're doing?" "Lot expansion." "HOA said it was approved," the man replied, confused. I looked past him and saw it. Wooden stakes and a crude sign that read, "Future site of Willow Ridge overflow parking." I couldn't believe it. Our family cemetery predates the town itself. Established in 1811, it was registered with the county and even had historical preservation status. My great-great-grandmother Elizabeth Braxton was a midwife during the Civil War. Her grave marker is a granite obelisk that still stands proudly beneath an old magnolia tree. The HOA knew none of this. They claimed the land was unused forest, which meant it fell under the community's right to repurpose green space. No letters, no hearings, no permits. Just bulldozers. At the next HOA board meeting, I met Karen Prescott. Blonde bob, pearls, designer heels. She introduced herself as president of the Willow Ridge Neighborhood Association. "You're emotionally attached," she said, flipping through papers. "But no one's visited that area in years. We had to think about the living residents." I nearly laughed. "Those graves are sacred. You can't pave over them." She smiled condescendingly. "The law says we can." She had no idea who she was dealing with. I called my cousin Dylan, a probate lawyer who knew more about dead property rights than anyone in the state. He came armed with records, cemetery registration, family deeds, even Civil War-era land grants. "This is still private land. Their claim is bogus, and if they start digging, they could be facing federal charges under the Historic Burial Protection Act." But we needed more than paperwork. We needed proof. The next morning, I rented ground-penetrating radar. With the help of local volunteers, we scanned the perimeter. The results stunned even me. There weren't 19 graves like we thought. There were 42. Many were unmarked, likely enslaved people and workers from the 1800s. I contacted a local historian who confirmed that the Braxton estate had served as a supply post during the war. Karen wasn't just paving a parking lot. She was desecrating a piece of Black and Southern history. I called a local journalist I knew from high school. She jumped on the story. By the next day, headlines read, "HOA paves over slave graves for parking spaces." Karen tried to backpedal. She blamed the surveyor, claimed ignorance, cried on the evening news. But the damage was done. Activists showed up. TV crews, descendants of those buried, came forward with family records. One woman sobbed on camera, "My great-grandmother worked for the Braxtons. I didn't know she was buried here." Dylan filed an emergency injunction to halt construction. We compiled a packet of evidence, historical maps, DNA records, eyewitness accounts, even drone footage of the cleared gravesite. A sympathetic judge issued a temporary stop work order within 48 hours. The court date was set, but Karen wasn't done. 2 days before the hearing, our original land deed vanished from the county archives. "Clerical error," Karen said with a smug smile. Except it wasn't. We had video of a man entering the records room late at night, paid by a shell company linked to Karen's brother-in-law. We turned it over to the sheriff. Forgery, tampering, conspiracy. Now she was on the defensive. The courtroom was laid out the facts. He brought up a descendant of an enslaved man buried there. The historian testified. Even a member of the Historic Cemeteries Alliance spoke. Karen tried to shift blame, citing community improvement and oversight. But the judge wasn't having it. His final ruling, the cemetery is protected under federal and state law. The HOA acted with negligence and malice. Full restoration is ordered. Fines totaling $780,000 to be paid by Willow Ridge HOA. Section 10. Restoring the ground volunteers return to replant native trees, restore headstones, and clean up the land. We installed plaques with names, dates, and QR codes linking to family trees. The community helped. Even some former HOA members joined us, ashamed of what had happened. 2 months later, I got a call from the Department of Cultural Resources. "We want to help," the director said. "We'd like to designate the Braxton Cemetery as a state historic site." I agreed. The land is now protected in perpetuity. School kids take tours there. History students do research. Karen, she moved. We installed a wrought iron fence, solar lights, and benches. Every year, we hold a memorial walk. The land my grandfather swore would remain sacred now serves as a living monument to history, to justice, to the power of standing your ground.